Hello again, as you know, I am Eli the Computer Guy, and today's class is Keylogger Software Introduction. So a lot of you guys have been wondering about Keylogger software. You've been wondering about how to use it. You've been wondering about why it can be a bit of a scary thing, and I figured, hey, what the hell, I will do a class on it. So the essential idea behind Keylogging Software is this is software that you install onto a computer, and it will track everything that gets typed into the computer. So if somebody types a username in, that will be grabbed. If somebody types a password in, that will be grabbed. If somebody types a search query or a paper or a document or any of that kind of thing, all of that information will be stored so that it can be viewed later. Or depending on the software, it will be stored and then it will be sent out. It can either be emailed out or FTP'd out or basically somehow moved off the computer to a remote location so that you can essentially spy on the computer. So the classic idea of this keylogging software is that it was able to grab text. Anything you typed into the computer, it would grab, right? You know, that's the classic idea of keylogging software back from about 2000. Now, as things continue on, as things progress, not just due to computers and such advance, but also this type of software. So nowadays, not only does keylogging software grab text that people type into computers, but it also can grab screenshots, it can grab chat messages going back and forth, some of it can grab video, it can email all of that information out. There is a lot of functionality to this keylogging software now. So there's different ways to do keylogging, but this class today I'm going to be showing you keylogging software. So this is software you download and you install onto what I will show you today, a Windows computer. Now, when you're thinking about keylogging software is one of those things that there are a million different versions of. So I'm going to show you a particular one today, but don't feel like this is the only one out there. There's a zillion versions of keylogging software. Now, the one thing that I'm going to warn you about is when you go to use keylogging software, you have to be very, very careful about who you trust to create your keylogging software. So any hacker worth their 2 cents can create keylogging software in an evening. Building keylogging software for people that study computer science is no big deal. So the question then has to be, is what additional functionality is within the keylogging software that you do not know about. So if you go out and willy-nilly download keylogging software from any website on the internet, install it onto your computer, you may find out that some hacker created that keylogging software, and now not only are you spying on the computer, but somebody else is grabbing all of that information too. So this is one thing that you have to be very careful about. Again, when we talk about honor among thieves, when we talk about honor among hackers, what you have to remember is that it doesn't exist, right? Hackers love to hack other hackers. The only thing better than hacking a noob is hacking another hacker or hacking a wannabe hacker. So if you go out there and you download and install keylogging software onto a computer from a source that is trying to spy on your information, you may have just compromised your network. You may have just caused lots and lots and lots and lots of problems for yourself. That will be really, 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 really horrible in the future. Now, the keylogging software that I downloaded and installed, basically I went to CNET, I went to downloads, and I installed it onto my lab computer. It seems to work very well. Whether or not there's any nefarious bits, I have no idea. I don't really care because, again, it is on my lab computer. Now, you're going to be asking me, Eli, what keylogging software should I use? Well, we're going to go into that at the end of this class, but basically, I am not going to give you any recommendations on any keylogging software because I personally really don't think you should be using keylogging software anyway, but I am not going to put my name on the line for keylogging software. If you want a good email client, Outlook is great. If you want a good web browser, Chrome is great. But as far as what keylogging software you should download and install onto your computer, I'm staying the hell out of it. Just realize there's a lot out there. Go try to find something that you think is legitimate. So let's go over to my lab computer so I can kind of show you what's going on, because as with all this stuff, once you guys actually see it, it's a lot easier than most of you folks think. So again, as I talked about, I just went to download.com. So this is download.cnet.com. And honestly, I just searched for Keylogger. So one of the ones that came up is the System Surveillance Pro. Now, one of the things I will tell you that I was kind of surprised about, this keylogging software all used to be free. It was all free. But now, actually, some of this stuff gets kind of pricey. So this has a nice free trial. That's why I'm using it. But if you want to buy it, it is then $40. So if you want to play around, it has a nice, fully functional 7-day trial. But if you want to buy it, it's $40. And from what I saw, that seems to be about about how it goes. Most of the decent keylogging software now is $40 to $50. It's definitely not free stuff. So I would be worried if you do download free stuff, what additional goodies you get for the freeness. Remember, I keep telling you guys, I'll say it over and over and over and over and over again, nothing in the world is free. The question is how do you pay for it? So I would rather pay with my credit card than in ways I may not realize. So basically I just went here, and what I'm going to be showing you today is this System Surveillance Pro. So basically you just download this, you install it, and once you've installed it, you get a nice little control panel. So this is the control panel for System Surveillance Pro. Now the thing with System Surveillance Pro is once you install it, you can make it so that there are no desktop icons, and that it does not show up down in the lower right hand corner for the little task thing down here. Right now I have that running. You can see it there, but you can make this completely hidden if you want to. Basically what you do is you go up to Tools, you go to Settings, and then as with all of this stuff, it gives you lots and lots and lots of options. So do you want this thing to auto start when the computer starts up? Yes or no? What users do you want to monitor? So if you want to monitor your kid, but you don't want to monitor yourself, you would go through here and you would do all these checkboxes. Now here's the big one here. Here's the big legal thing. And this is one of those that these two stupid little checkboxes are probably the most important in configurations in this entire software, and you guys are going to poo-poo them, but poo-poo them at your own risk, right? These are the warnings. These are the checkboxes that say, do you want to tell people that a keylogger is being used on this computer? So display SS Pro warning message on startup. So what happens is when the computer starts up, it will display a message that says this computer is being monitored. Right? Do you want that message to pop up? The next one is display the SS Pro icon in the system tray. So that's this little icon here. So if I uncheck both of these, it means that this will work in stealth mode and people will not know they are being monitored. Again, this is a huge legal question here. If they know they're being monitored and then they do something stupid, you are most likely in the right. If they do not know they're being monitored and they do something stupid, you could theoretically be in the right and legally not. So we're going to talk about that at the end of this video, but be very careful here. I'm telling you right now, these startup warnings here, you guys think this is nothing, this is stupid. These are literally the most important configurations in this entire piece of software. But then past that, we get logging options. We get screen snapshot. So how often do you want to take a snapshot of the screen? So not only does this track the text, but it'll actually show pictures. Logging schedule. When do you want it to log? Do you want to log during the morning? Do you want it to log during the evening? So you can actually set times, database options. How do you want the database to work? Security and accessibility. Keystrokes, websites, web blocking, blah, 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 IM alerts, all of this stuff here. The nice part, the cool part then also is you actually have email delivery options. So with all of the logging, like with the screen snapshots, you can actually email out these pictures. So email snapshot every so many minutes. So if I want to be tracking my kid's computer, during the day, I could literally have it do a snapshot, a screenshot of their screen, let's say every 10 minutes, and email it to me. So I can see whether they're looking at math websites or porn websites or corgi websites. All that stuff is here. That's one of the nice, cool pieces of functionality with this. Once you set these, however you want to set these, then you can just do OK. From here, you've got things. We can look at reports. So you can actually do multiple computers. We can say what username we want to take a look at, activity date, so on and so forth. This gives us some information. So it says keystrokes. So right now it tells me in Google Chrome I did 62 keystrokes. In Notepad++ I did 25 keystrokes. In Windows Explorer I did 12. Websites visited, it shows me the websites that have been visited, and program activity. We can now go and we can kind of drill into this. So if I click on the keystrokes, this will show me what keystrokes were put in for different programs. So for Windows Explorer, so Lab PC, this computer, User Lab, in the application Windows Explorer, we can go down here and we can see at 9:25, at 2:15, basically I put in GGGGGGG. Timestamp 9:25 to 25, so about 10 minutes later, you can see I put in Notepad. So within Windows Explorer, those are the keystrokes I did, and here's a picture over here of what I was doing. If we go over here to Google Chrome, we can see all the things I plugged into Google Chrome. So at 2:15, I put in cute corgi dogs, then I did backspace, 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 and then I put in corgi. Then at 2:17, I put in puppy. So this is actually tracking all the different words I put in. Puppy pictures, cute puppies at 14:21. We can then go over and at Notepad++, here I put in hello you sexy corgi. And so basically, as I was saying, this logs everything that you're typing into the computer and gives a nice little timestamp. Beyond that, it will then go to websites, so it'll show me all the websites that were visited. We can do chat messages, so if the person is using some kind of like AIM or instant messaging, it will track all of that. It shows what programs were used, so you can see were they using Word 2007 or were they using World of Warcraft or Diablo. You can even do file events, so if files were used. And then here's the cool thing, is those screenshots. So these screenshots is it's taking a picture every minute, so we can see at 9:25 or at 2:15 this is a screenshot, at 2:16, at 2:17, at 2:18. You can even play through this. So I can hit play and it will go through and it will actually play all the screenshots. So I can sit back with my beer and see what it is my kid was doing during the day. So this is all of the stuff that this keylogging software is tracking. And so it will be tracking all of this as long as it's actually monitoring. So right now, if we wanted to stop, I could just do stop monitoring, and now that will stop monitoring. But the cool part is, again, like I say, this gets keystrokes, it gets websites, it gets chat messaging, it shows you programs, it shows you file events, and it shows you screenshots. It does all of that, and it can even email you this information. So again, if you're going on a business trip and you're worried about what your kid is doing or your fiance is doing, you can take a look at what they're doing. Now, this is going to be the big thing, because again, everybody talks about keyloggers, and I get so many questions about keyloggers, almost to the point I'm kind of scared of doing this class, but it's a technical product, so you guys should know how it works. But you guys have to be very, 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 very careful about using this keylogging software. So there was a debate on the Eli the Computer Guy Facebook page about asking for help installing keylogging software onto somebody's computer. And I was very surprised, I was very shocked about how many of my fan base thought installing keylogging software on computers they owned was absolutely A-OK. I had administrators saying if it's a computer on the network I am responsible for, it is a-okay for me to install keylogging software. Let me disabuse you of that notion, at least in the United States. In the United States, legally, we have something called expectation of privacy, or the question of what is the expectation of privacy of the user of a system. If you are an employee, even if the boss owns the computer, the question is, as the employee, what is the expectation of privacy that you have to use that computer? Now, this is very, very, very important to understand. If you're going to be using keylogging software in a business environment, you need to go talk to your lawyer. You need to go talk to your lawyer long before you install the first piece of software onto anybody's computer, because every jurisdiction, every state, and federal law has different laws about what you are able to collect, even from employees, even from systems that you in fact own. If you violate those laws, if you find out that your employee is looking at porn during the workday, and then you fire them because you had keylogging software on their computer, they in fact can come back and sue you because you violated their rights. I know a lot of you guys think that's a joke and you think that's a laugh, but that really, 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 really is true. So again, in the United States, in America, if you are going to be using this keylogging software, the first thing that you should be doing is going and talking to a lawyer, because you have to be careful about this stuff. I know a lot of people don't feel that they will be taken to prison or that they will be sued or any of that for using software like this, but the reality is not that using software like this when the end user doesn't know about it. The question is not whether or not it's illegal. It generally is illegal. The question is whether lawyers currently know enough about technology to sue you or to take you to court. As with all things, lawyers are becoming more educated about technology and computers, and they are going to more and more realize that they can just take a boss to the ringer over using software like this. So make sure, if you're going to be using this in a commercial, in a business environment, that you go talk to lawyers, and I would say you make sure all of those warnings are there. Basically, or legally, it's the expectation of privacy. If the employee had an expectation, if they felt that their communications were private, that is usually what trumps all else. So if you are going to be using this keylogging software, put warnings everywhere, put big ass signs, put a big 8x8 sign on the wall of your business saying all keystrokes will be tracked in this business. Seriously, this is a very, very, very important point, because also remember, if you are the administrator for a company, it is not just painful for the company to lose a lawsuit, it is painful for the company to even get into a lawsuit. So the question is you think that employees are screwing around on their computers, and that is costing the company a couple $1,000s every month. That is very painful. If you use keylogging software, you fire an employee, they then take you to court, it may cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to fight that court case, even if you in fact win at the end of the day. So be very, 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 very careful with the keylogging software from the commercial end. From the kid end, so I know a lot of people out there think about putting keylogging software on their kids' computers. Again, be very careful with this. With kids, it's most likely, I'm not a lawyer, most likely it's not as much a problem with the whole the legal issue, but you run into a trust issue. It's kind of one of those weird things. Everybody in the world is up in arms and screaming about the NSA tracking their communications, and yet those same people seem absolutely A-okay with tracking all of their kids' communications. I hate to remind people that kids and teenagers are in fact human beings just like you are, and if you are completely pissed off about somebody doing something, the chances are they are going to feel the same way. I would be very cautious with using this keylogging software, because you might create far more problems than you are trying to prevent. As a technology professional, having dealt with a lot of end users and parents and kids and all of that kind of stuff, I really do feel at the end of the day there are better solutions than keyloggers for trying to deal with things with your kids. Again, something like OpenDNS, using that on your network to prevent them from being able to go to porn sites entirely. Putting up, it's one of those things psychologically, putting up walls and putting up fences does not irritate people to the same degree as spying does. So if you put up systems on your home network that prevent your kids from going to porn sites, the chances are that will cause far less animosity between you and your child than spying on them to see if they do go to porn sites. Kind of get what I'm saying? Again, that's between you and your kids, but I have to say, keylogging software is about the worst way in the world to deal with it. Truly, truly, truly. Just believe me on that. Then the final thing, so we got the commercial, when to use keylogging software in the commercial world. Basically don't, but if you do, go talk to your lawyer and put up some big signs. With your kid. The final one is with spouse. This is one that you have to be very, very, very careful with. So a lot of people believe that they can spy on their spouses or their fiancés. This is, again, when we go back into the legal realm. It is illegal to spy on another adult when they have an expectation of privacy, even if they are your spouse or your fiance or your girlfriend, boyfriend, so on and so forth. If they are an adult, it is a felony offense to spy on them, to install this keylogging software onto their computer and then track what you're doing. Now, most of the time in the real world, this thing doesn't get to court cases, but what you have to be thinking about is if you're thinking about divorcing your spouse, if you're thinking about bringing legal issues against somebody, if you have an abusive relationship, again, there's a difference between people who trust each other and one person does something a little dumb, and people who really don't trust each other and really want to cause as much pain as possible. There have been court cases, spouses, fiancés, lovers, so on, have been sent to jail for installing this software onto, again, their spouses or other people's computers. So as far as adults are concerned, out in the real world, again, even if they are your spouse, don't do it. It is a felony offense. Those are my thoughts on it. So this keylogging software, again, there's lots and lots. There's almost no reason that I would use keylogging software in the real world. Again, doing this class is one of those things. It's a real piece of technology. It is something that you have to worry about, especially as a security administrator. So I showed it to you. But really, honestly, there's almost no reason to use this in the real world. It's just all kinds of bad for everybody involved. If you are worried about your employees or your kids going to porn sites or gambling sites or any of that kind of stuff, use proxy servers, use firewalls, use OpenDNS, use something else. Keyloggers are just a nasty, 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 nasty tool. That just really shouldn't be used. About the only reason that I would ever use a keylogger, honestly, the only legitimate reason I can see for using a keylogger is if I wanted to literally install it onto my own computer because I thought somebody else was using my computer with unauthorized access. So basically, if I thought, the janitorial staff was using my computer to look at porn at night, or the janitorial staff was trying to hack into my computer, then I may install a keylogger so in the morning I can come in and I can see if anything was done at midnight, because obviously I was home and asleep. So if I see somebody who's trying to access my computers, then I can know to fire the janitorial staff. That is really, that's about the only reason I would use this keylogging software. Otherwise, I would stay the hell away from it. So the keylogging software, whether you're using Windows, whether you're using Linux, whether you're using iPad or any of that, there's lots of software that you can download and install. Most of the stuff nowadays actually surprisingly costs a bit of money. The big thing that I will warn you is buy or install from a vendor that you trust. Because again, hackers like nothing better than to hack wannabe hackers. So the last thing that you want to do is install this keylogging software onto your kid's computer and then have all kinds of nastiness happen because your kid's Facebook account gets cracked, your kid's Twitter account gets cracked, YouTube account gets cracked. All of a sudden you're looking at key logs for a computer that has been compromised. And again, it's just all kinds of nastiness. Because that's something that can really happen. A hacker could literally put something into that keylogging software, you download it, install it onto the computer, and then they start remotely controlling that computer. And so the hacker is now using your 13-year-old's computer to go to porn sites. You then see the computer goes to porn sites, your kid gets smacked, and it's really not their fault. At the end of the day, it was you. You end up smacking your kid because you screwed up. And that is like the moral lesson of the real world. So again, realize seriously, this is keylogging software. Don't use it. The only other type of keylogging, one of the other types of keylogging that you will see in the world, just so you know about it, is they do have little devices that you can put onto keyboards. So what this is this plugs into the back of the computer, and then you plug the keyboard into it, and then it will actually track all of the data that goes from the keyboard. So it will track all of those keystrokes. Those are little devices. Again, they normally cost about $30 or $40. You can actually buy them off of Amazon.com. So that is a different type of keylogger, and that is out there, so you should know about it. So, as you know, I am Eli the Computer Guy. This class was Keylogger Software Introduction. As always, I enjoyed teaching this class. I hope it was useful. I hope it was valuable. Now, please don't use anything I said. Please, now that you understand keyloggers, don't use them. I'm telling you, you think it's a joke. It's not a joke.